Good morning, future skeletons. Some bonny weather today. We could do with a little bit more bonny weather though, because it's the middle of September and we've got a big line pointing job. So this job has to be done by the time the frost comes, because you can't point with lime in frost. So this house is probably a turn of the 20th century. Built with lime mortar, as they all were. And then sometime maybe in the 50s or early 60s it was pointed up with cement, and as you can see that's neither use nor hindrance, that is it. So what they've done is they haven't raked out the line pointing hard enough, then just smeared over the cement mortar. But as you can see from the colour of the cement they've used, it's an incredibly strong mix. So there's very little sand in this mortar, so that's when the frost gets into it, it cracks it because it's so hard, and the water gets behind the pointing, sits on the line pointing and can't get out. So it'll go to a point of lower porosity, it'll go through the house, and that results in damp. Quite a lot of the internal walls on this house are quite damp, so that'll be the reason it's been such an issue. But then to remedy that, in the early 60s, according to one of the neighbours, this cement bender's been put on it. They've done a hell of a job, because it's been on the wall for like 60 years now. And I suppose it keeps the water off, but it also keeps the water in. So you can see these little micro cracks here. These are crazy all over the render. So as the water gets in, it sits behind the render, and then it'll find its way in these little cracks, and then it's doubly locked in the wall. So what we've done is we're going to knock the render off, knock the pointing off, knock it back as deep as it wants to, as deep as possible. So that wants to be twice the width of the joints, and then we'll line point it up again. So it's coming off in quite big chunks, is this render, and it's a big job. Is this 1, 2, 3? It's 5 lifts on the scaffold, so we're going to be here for a while. So we'll go up a deck and we'll have a look at what it looks like when we've just broken the cement pointing out. So we've gone up a deck, and this is what the wall looks like once we've broken the cement pointing off the wall. So this reveals the line pointing, and even with the line pointing mix, if you have a closer look, you see those chunks of lime, those little little white chunks of lime. So that shows that the mix that they've used is a poorly mixed mix. Tongue twister. So when you're mixing up lime, you need to really mix it for a good half an hour, 45 minutes before you put the water in. That thoroughly mixes the lime in. When you're left with chunks like this, it shows that the lime isn't thoroughly mixed and it can't incorporate into the mortar properly. So what that does, it doesn't allow the hydrolysis to happen, and for the lime in the mix to carbonify. So that could be an issue as well. But once we've line pointed over this with a proper thoroughly mixed mix, there won't be any more issues in this wall. Like I say, as you can see, way too strong a mix to be used in the mortar is this. Well, we get it fettled. So once we've broken all the cement pointing off, then we have to go over it again and grind all the joints out, and that gives us like we said in the past, twice the width of the joint deep, to add a good adhesion for the mortar that we put in. Then there's no voids that the water can get behind and cause issues and dramas. So we shall go up again, and we shall have a look at what the wall looks like once it's been ground out. So we've gone up another deck now. I'm getting a bit dizzy, it's that high. So once we've ground out all the cement pointing, we were left with the shallow joints of the lime pointing, and as you can see here, we've raked it back with the grinder to real deep joints, So once we apply the mortar to the wall, it's got like nice deep key. There's no way that water can penetrate. But once we've thoroughly mixed the lime mortar up that we're applying to the wall, that'll allow the wall to breathe. So any water or moisture that's locked into the cavity behind the stonework, in between the stonework and the brickwork, can then come out of the wall to where it's supposed to be, out in damp Lancashire. So just to speed that up, there is some air bricks, but we're going to put another air brick in each room, and you can now get tiny little weep holes. So we're going to put some of them in, maybe put a dozen or 20 in the whole gable. And as you can see here, as we busted all this out, there's several layers of silicon on here. So water ingress has obviously been an issue for this winter at some point, but I don't know who's put it in. We've done half a job, I didn't put it. So there'll be some like little bits of remedial work as we're going up and down the wall, and we'll put some expanding foam in there, fasten it to the wall properly, because it's loose as that. You don't want to be doing a Rapunzel and end up falling out onto the street below, because it's not going to be a hot look. Right, yeah, so we've got plenty more work to be doing here before we're ready to put a mix on. And time is pressing on, it's nearly October, and I'm getting a little bit twitchy as to when this first frost day is going to be, so we shall crack on.